Let's talk not physical, not physical. Let's talk not physical. Let's talk not physical. Let us have some spirit talk. Some spirit talk. Let us have some spirit talk.
State, but I'm gonna call it dream state anyways, where it's like first layer is your dream state, and that's like your, when you get in that state, it's like your personal VR world, right? And then the next layer, it's more, oh, that now we're in the astral world, and that's where we can actually meet, right? But you can't exactly see the physical world in the astral world. It's kind of like a mirrored version of the real world, you know? So I think even if we try to do experiments, and we try to have like, oh, an envelope with a number, and we have to see if we can see the envelope, I don't think that's necessarily going to work in the astral. Now, if we made an envelope in the astral world, right? Like I imagine a house, and there's a table in my house, right, with a vase, right? You would be able to go into my house, right, and see that vase on the table in the astral world. Like then that would make sense. But if you're trying to, because I've heard stories where there was this Japanese woman during, I think, World War I. She was used to basically, her ability is basically she can come out of the body and actually see the physical, right? She can go around a corner and see how many men are around the corner, and just to make sure that their own soldiers are safe, right? Like, does that exist? I think 100% that exists. Like, we can do that. We can like actually get into a state of mind where it's strictly the physical world, and we can go around a corner and see the numbers, see how many men there are, see how many, I don't know, whatever, like trees there are, right? But I feel like it's the state of mind that we have to be in if we want results, right?
Yeah, but it's not as the thing is that it's complex. So to me, the best way of seeing is like this. Potentially, we all can access, let's say, a lot of channels. But for example, in my case, I'm good at accessing only one channel, mainly. And I can say maybe, I think they are related, because the channel I access, that I think I would call it the source, I access the source. It's not like I access an astral world or something. I access source. It is related, super closely related to dreams, because several times I started doing the visualizations and then falling asleep. But when I was falling asleep, nothing changed. It was smooth. I was aware, and the visualizations got into a dream. But it's kind of like the same thing. The only thing that changed is that my component of fully awareness with the physical went away. So I was aware like in a dream. And not fully aware, because if I was fully aware, I would have gone to the void and do something else. I would turn it into an outer body or a astral projection. Right. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not a good idea to compare to, how do you say, compartmentalize.
Yeah.
To separate things, that the astral world is here, the dream world is there. They are not like separate things, but they are like separate channels, though. It's like different channels.
Yeah.
And for example, in the astral channel or frequencies that the access to area, there are also several realities on that channel, let's say.
Yeah, I noticed that when I do a retrieval, I start at a high channel and I go down to a low channel. So my default channel is sort of like at a balance level or something. It's somewhere, you know, like you're not going to see a lot of ghosts in that channel, for example. It's so I don't know where it is, but so here's what I was going to say though, is that I think for the three of us, it's sort of like a matter of like, if we can somehow, one of us can connect to somebody else's channel, then we can begin to create sort of a map, not so much a map, but just be able to find a way that we can connect with each other.
Yeah. I think it all comes back to frequency, and the frequency will lead you to that state of mind. And that state of mind will lead you to the right channel. Right? So a lot of methods out there, you know, I'm just a beginner and all of this, a newbie, right? I'm like all of you, just like things just come to me, dreams, and I guess sometimes seeing spirits and demons, but it's like it's nothing I can really control, but hopefully we can get to a point where we can control it. We can go into that specific channel whenever we want.
Just my background, I lucid dream, and then I can go into the astral from the lucid dream, but I'm very much a newbie when it comes to doing what like Claudio can do, which is just close your eyes. And
yeah, like I can't do that. I'm like, that's amazing.
Well, but you know what? I've been practicing and coming up with techniques, like because I'm starting from ground zero with that, I feel like I'm sort of almost developing, coming up with ideas of how to help other people start to do it. Like for example, if I close my eyes right now, I don't see much of anything. It's pretty non-distinct. But what I can do is I can imagine an object, and in some part of my brain, I can actually begin to see that object. It's not necessarily my black field of view, but it's somewhere. And when I start visualizing that object, I can hear the object, I can feel it. It's almost like I've managed to figure out how to tune into my dream state. But it's a little bit different than what Claudio is accessing, because he doesn't hear anything.
Yeah. Well, let me say something. This is my plan. If you guys want to keep doing this some other times, I think the best would be to start trying simple stuff. Kind of like imagine like going to practice some sports, and we start with the very basics, right? And then let's suppose we try one day visualize trees. So now the three of us can visualize trees. So the next time say, well, we know already we can do trees. And then we start, let's say, with houses. So, but the thing is, I think it's going to be better for everybody that we start every practice with the basic things, so we achieve some practice already, and then we can try little by little more the weird stuff, even on the same day, same session. You follow me?
Yeah, and I would agree that, you know, when I've been trying to practice the visual field, I haven't been thinking almost at all about anything non-physical. I simply am trying to just develop my, and I know Claudia hates this, develop my imagination, basically. Just trying.
You and me both. We're gonna keep using those words.
But I have a question to ask you, Chris. Since you're an artist,
yeah,
can you see an image in your head that you're trying to paint, or are you copying something from an image?
Depends. Like if I'm copying, but if I want to just draw what's ever in my head, I can. It all depends on skill, right? Like if I'm already good at it, I can draw pretty accurately. But if I'm not, yeah.
But let's say I said, I want you to draw me an apple, and you've never drawn an apple before. Can you visualize an apple in your mind right now, or would you need to look at it?
I can visualize it right now.
Okay.
So how do you
that's
see
a
it? I mean,
skill that I think...
wait. How do you see it? What color is that apple? No, I want to see how much quality you get for visualizing the apple.
But like at this point, okay, Claudio's gonna hate it again. Like in my imagination, I see that, like, because I usually eat like Fuji apples, so I see like the red on the outside, the light tinge of red with some, you know, yellow on the top and bottom of the apple right now.
Does it stay the same?
It's the same.
Can you see the gloss on the apple surface right now? That there's like this, like it's and so when I'm visualizing it, I'm tasting it and I'm feeling it. It's really smooth, and when it touches my tongue, it has almost like a plant-like taste, the surface of it. and I'm imagining there's a little stem there, and it's the skinny little stem, but it's nice and strong.
Yeah, like if you're telling me to imagine it, I can feel it. I can taste it. I can like that when I touch the stem with my mind's eye, I can feel it. You know?
You can
That's
taste it
excellent.
too.
That's because I think this is what I'm developing, and Claudio's got something a little bit different. But I think if we all work together on this, we can sort of just keep building. Now, when you close your eyes, do you see the object, or is it more like there's some buffer in memory somewhere?
It's exactly like you, like where there's a buffer, like, and the buffer is this reality, right?
Yeah.
Because I told Claudio like 2 days ago that like I literally did exactly what you did. I listened to your video. The best time for me is when I wake up in the morning and I purposely go back to sleep. That's when I really see everything. Right? Same thing. And that morning when I forced myself to sleep, I wasn't really sleeping. I was still awake, right? But I was able to feel. I really think in your head, that's it. It's literally a third eye. Like I was able to control it. I was able to open it, close it, open it, close it. But then when I woke up, I realized, oh, that's not my physical eye, right? And when I opened my eye with my third eye, I was able to see my room.
But I guess what I'm wondering is right now when we did the Apple visualization, it's almost like it's in a buffer somewhere. It's like the third or fourth.
Right now, it's somewhere there. You know.
But if you were to just close your eyes right now, you wouldn't see it. But
I wouldn't be like Claudio where I can see it right in front of me.
Yeah.
No, but wait a minute, because I think you guys think that you are less capable than you really are. Is what happens is that everybody's better at certain frequencies. Like for example, I cannot do like him, like see an apple right now, and the apple stays the same color. I can kind of like imagine an apple, but without having the colors there. It's like I see the concept of the apple and the shape, but nothing that stays with the same colors.
What about, Claudio, for a scene? Because you talk about being able to see trees and water. Are those things more stable for you, like whole scenes?
No, yeah, but the thing is, I had to get immersed into it. It's not like I close my eyes. For example, if I want to get something quick, if I want to get an apple right away, when I close my eyes, 9 out of 10 tries, I'm gonna fail. But if I want to see something, I see it right away. I see something. Usually are trees, but sometimes I close my eyes, I see a face right away. It's more likely that I see a face if I don't try to see a face than if I try to see a face right away.
No, I know.
But once I am, but let me keep going. Once I am doing it, let's suppose I see a lot of trees and even moving like a drone camera. I'm flying through the trees and even see water and mountains. If at that state, I want to try to see text or faces, it's easier than if I try right away starting from scratch. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I'm already channeling that. So for me to see an apple, for example, if I want the best chances to see an apple very clear for me is to close my eyes, don't think of an apple, try to get trees. From trees, I get better colors like grass. Then I try to see more trees and more trees till I try to see the apples in the trees, and then I see the tree with apples, and then I go zoom in on the apple, and then I see the apple clear. But you see the process I had to, it's like tricky how I get to see an apple clear. It's not direct. This is me getting there in the field. It's kind of like accessing an AI that I cannot prompt right away, give me the apple. I had to prompt first, get me to a forest, or get me to some outside scenery. Then give me vegetation, trees. Then give me an apple tree. That's how I usually get there.
So I think though, what Chris and I are doing though is we're accessing like the third or fourth channel in our visual buffer, and we're able to do whatever we want there. But the field that we see when we close our eyes is like, it's like a black curtain almost. You know, it's like there's not much there. There might be like, you know, maybe if I'm lucky, there might be like some weird looking thing in a tiny part of that field of view. And so what I'm saying is like we're starting from different points, but I have a feeling that we can all get to the same place. We just need to learn how to cultivate.
One question, because I want to have it better. The concept, when you say buffer, do you mean that it's like you kind of like see it but don't see it in the same time? That's what you mean?
Yeah.
By buffer?
Yeah, like a buffer. So in computer graphics, one of the great inventions is something called the double buffer, which means that the buffer that you can't see is being rendered and completed, and the image is completed. And then when the image is completed, it's brought to the forefront for you to see, while the one behind now is built from scratch. So imagine that we have like multiple visual fields, and one of them is able to do what we want it to do, but it's not the one that we see when we close our eyes.
For example, right now I have my eyes open, and I see like in the background, like in some other frequency, I see, for example, a big guy, kind of like Hawk, with a fist on the floor. Yeah, you see the right knee on the floor, and his right arm, his right fist on the floor. You see like that position that people would do flips, back flips or front flips, and they usually try to finish like a superhero, like they put the hand on the floor. Yeah,
All
like
right.
that
He's doing
position.
a pose for the next movie.
So is that what you mean maybe by buffer? Like when you have eyes open and you kind of like, it's like a channel, but you cannot really have a full focus on that channel, but you still.
It's if you focus on it, you can think about it, but it keeps popping out of view unless you're focusing on it. Like it's very 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 temporary. Like you have
For
to
example,
really,
right now with the eyes open, I can see some black figure dancing.
There you go. See now.
But it's not as clear as when I have my eyes closed.
See, now we've opened you up to other radio stations. So congratulations. Well, not radio station, television.
No, I tried that before, but it's not the same quality as when I close my eyes. It never reaches that quality.
For me, visualizing the apple is nine, except like Chris said, when I'm like waking up in the morning, that's the only time where my main visual field becomes the working field, the working buffer, right? Is that what you're saying, Chris? That like that time right when you wake up is like the one time where it seems like your imaginative buffer becomes your main buffer, your main channel.
Yeah, I feel like that, like you said, the front buffer is weakened. Like you're in a different brainwave now where you're more susceptible to seeing the visuals, whatever you imagine, right? And maybe sometimes you go beyond imagining where you actually see the next layer, right? Like the mirrored reality I was talking about. Because I feel like that's because you know how some people they can be awake and some people can see spirits.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's both buffers kind of like I think
yes.
You know, to some people that's not normal, right? Because that like when you're awake, you should only see the reality that you see now, and then when you sleep, then you should only see the spirits and all that, right?
Yeah.
But they're kind of interfacing both at the same time.
That's right. That's right. So they're overlaid. It's like a 50-50 mix.
Yeah.
So
and
there's a woman.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the weird thing is it's like the person can interact with whatever's there too, which is really strange.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, people say it's not normal, but I think it's a gift, you know, that you can see both worlds.
Well, So there's a woman, and actually this is more relevant now because I wanted to throw this story in there. Her name is Desna Zuckerman, and she could always see auras when she was a child. And then she got into a car accident where she hit her head. So she went from seeing auras to like seeing like 10 layers of people's energy bodies. I mean, she went from like okay spiritual vision to like super spiritual vision. So she could look at somebody and see like their entire energy apparatus around them.
We should all get into an accident.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. If you hit your head too hard, then you're like, ooh. Yeah, so you don't want to hit your head too hard, just enough.
Oh man.
Another thing I wanted to say.
This is all useful. So I think, so here's the way I see it, Claudio, is that in the long run, I think we're going to be able to teach a lot of people these techniques, and the way we're going to do it is because each of us are coming from a different sort of skill set, and we're all trying to sort of converge on similar skill sets. We're going to be able to come up with pretty much, or at least 3 different ways that humans can achieve these states.
Yeah, but another thing I wanted to say, well, first of all, I remember the word I wanted to say was compartmentalize. I mean, make compartments of things. Like the astral realm is a compartment, dream world. But what I want to say is that, because also from my evolution of getting better on the practice, that you already have very strong experiences. Chris told me, you told me. So it's not like you don't have that. It's like you had to get there. I mean, get there from a faster trip.
No, I think the spirit induced me to become like that, to be more susceptible, you know? And then when the spirit kind of like messed with me, it opened. It's kind of like the story Michael was talking about. It kind of like this accident that happened that opened me up to this whole nother world, right? I think that's what happened. I think everybody has it.